Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me as always Arundhati Ramanan and Ritu Singh. These are the top headlines from the startup space. VFlow Tech raises $20.5 million led by Granite Asia. The round also saw participation from Antares Ventures, EDBI and other existing investors. Proceeds will be allocated to scale its manufacturing plant in India.
Omnichannel jewelry retailer Bluestone gets 40 crore rupees in a debt funding round. This debt round was led by Black Soil with participation from Caspian Impact Investments. The latest fundraise comes ahead of its planned IPO.
Mobile entertainment platform Real Saga adds $2.1 million to its cart, led by Ficus Capital. Round also saw participation from IT Growth Opportunities Fund, Nazara Tech and several prominent angel investors. Capital will be used to fuel app development.
Karan Bajaj, the founder of White Hat Jr., raises $16 million in a seed round for his new venture that's called Complement One. The round was led by Owl Ventures and Bloom Ventures with participation from other undisclosed investors as well. The Complement One is a cancer care startup focusing on personalized lifestyle coaching in the United States.
Dream Sports will invest $50 million in CricBuzz, a platform for live cricket scores and commentary, and will allow TV a broadcast of cricket in North America. The investment will help boost fan engagement, shopping and AI-driven features.
AI infra startup Flam bags $14 million in a Series A round that was led by RTP Global. The funding will be used to expand Flam's operations across North America, Europe and the Middle East. This takes its total funding to $22 million since inception.
Skill gaming firm Gamescraft will pause operations of its online poker platform Pocket 52 on May 30, the latest casualty in India's real money gaming industry, grappling with the impact of the 28% GST regime and a slew to legal challenges. The move was part of a broader plan to reassess the firm's long-term approach to the category. Well, those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening on What's Brewing Today. AI infrastructure startup Flam has raised $14 million in its Series A round, led by RTP Global, with participation from Dovetail and other strategic investors. Now, with this capital, Flam aims to accelerate its mission of transforming how consumers engage with ads, retail environments, live broadcasts and fan moments, all by making content and interfaces more immersive, interactive and ROI-driven for brands. Joining me now to tell us more about this vision and what lies ahead is Shaurya Agarwal, the co-founder and CEO of Flam. Also with me is my colleague Arundhati. Shaurya, welcome to Startup Street. You claim to have built a full-stack enterprise suite of Gen AI-powered products aimed at reinventing brand audience engagement. Frictionless, appless, mixed reality experiences delivered in under 300 milliseconds. That's incredibly fast. Can you break down the tech infrastructure that makes this possible, and how are you achieving this level of speed and scale?
Hi, Shruti. Definitely. I think I'll quickly break down how this whole thing functions into three things. One is the creation. How do brands create mixed reality content? The second part is publishing, how they can just like upload the assets on the platform, create a link or a QR code which can publish across multiple touch points, whether it's like print or television, retail, digital platforms like WhatsApp. And the third piece is accessibility, which is the AI infra that we talk about. Essentially, we power Flam across 99% devices without any app download, without any web browser requirement. And this happens extremely fast because we basically compress 3D content, heavy GLB files into streamable content, which can be rendered super fast. Even on a low internet, like 4 Mbps, we can render content and like stream content within like 300 milliseconds. So that's the breakdown of the infra for Flam.
All right. Hi, Shaurya. Arundhati just stepping in here. If you could sort of tell us how you're enabling these brands, broadcasters and enterprises to sort of transform any touch point into interactive, measurable and engaging experiences. You know, you have mentioned the Gen AI tool chain powering this. So what does the full stack suite look like and how is it different from other offerings in the market?
See, there is no other offering which is enabling brands to publish mixed reality interactive content on the fly. Now, brands which are using Flam can enable hyper-real mixed reality content across print, across television, across broadcast, across retail through a QR code, through a Flam QR code, which is like you can just scan it from your native phone camera and the experience just instantly starts to render on your phone. So you don't need any app on your phone. You do not need any special hardware. Literally every single phone camera, whether it's a low-end Android device or like iPhone 16 Pro, across all devices, the phone camera becomes the point of entering into mixed reality. If it is digital platforms, whether it's like app banners or like websites or like Instagram, everywhere we can just enable mixed reality through a link. So you click on the link and you enter into the experience. So for brands, I think this has been a game changer, because if the experience is so seamless and the entry barrier is almost zero, then you can just enable consumers to consume high fidelity 3D content instantly.
Okay. You know, Shaurya, from Google to Tanish to the US presidential elections, you worked with over 100 brands. What are some of the standout campaigns or results that showcase what your platform can deliver? And which sectors or use cases are currently gaining the most traction, you know, retail, live events or broadcast?
I think let me talk about some high quality brands. Like Google, as all of us know, spends like billions of dollars on mixed reality research, and they are like doing incredible work. But like the consumer layer, to actually have some tangible product which can enable end consumer to experience, I think that's what Flam has developed. So Google 9A, Pixel 9A launch recently was on Flam. US presidential elections used us extensively across direct mail marketing, television, broadcast, TV. IPL recently leveraged Flam fandom product, which is one of the most interesting products we have released recently, where anybody, you and I, can just like create amazing content with celebrities, cricketing stars, all of these famous people. So all of these campaigns have been extremely popular. I think there are three critical metrics points which are relevant for brands. One is like high engagement. Flam is a very high intent product. So when a user enters into the experience, they're spending a lot of time. First of all, a lot of users are entering into the funnel of experiencing content. And then the average watch time is almost 3x more than any kind of ad format today. And obviously all of this leads to high ad recall, virality of the content, and eventually more conversions, more success for the brand. And all of this is sector agnostic, because this is just content, like just like brands and enterprises use videos or images as content. Now they are using mixed reality as content, right? So this is like sector agnostic. This is touch point agnostic across retail, live events, broadcast, everywhere this can be leveraged. So there's no specific sector or there's no specific touch point, I should say.
So you're sector agnostic, but you know, you are seeing up to 49 times higher engagement and 4 times better conversations, right? So what is driving this kind of performance? Is it purely the tech, the creative storytelling, or a combination of both?
It's always the combination. I think creative agencies, ad agencies, brands are too good at what they do. They understand how content, how campaigns should be designed. And obviously Flam Infra offers that creativity, that storytelling skills in the best possible way, because it's so seamless, so easy to publish these campaigns. So it's always a mix of both.
All right, Shaurya, let's now quickly talk about your global ambitions. You know, Flam is now expanding its global footprint with a strong presence planned across North America, Europe, the Middle East and Asia. What is your go-to-market and localization strategy for such a diverse and complex market?
I think if you see how last 12 months have been for us, we just introduced our product to the market like 12 months back. 100 plus brands have been using Flam across 10 plus geographies. 580 million plus users have already seen Flam content across multiple channels. All of this is possible because we are leveraging a lot of our product-led growth. Then we also leverage a lot of channel partnerships, whether it's like publishers, whether it's agencies. For example, in the Middle East market, we closely work with Khalij Times, Dar Al Khalij, Abu Dhabi Media Group. In India, we work with Bennett Coleman, multiple others, but like just giving some names to you. So all of these channel partnerships, distribution-led growth, product-led growth is helping us move fast. I think this is working very well for us, not just in India, but outside of India as well. So we will continue to double down on this strategy.
All right, Shaurya, we're completely out of time on the show, but thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best going forward with this journey.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, moving on. Vaya, which is an AI-powered astrology startup, has raised $1.5 million in a seed funding round that was co-led by Accel and Arkham Ventures, with participation from Weekend Fund along with contributions from other angel investors. This will primarily be used to expand Vaya's core team, enhance its AI technology, and build a strong community of Vedic astrology experts. Now, founded earlier this year, Vaya works with a curated group of astrologers and supports them with an AI engine that decodes complex astrological variables. What does all of this mean? How exactly are they using AI to foretell futures? Well, let's bring in the co-founder of the company, Vaya, Mahin Puri. Mahin, thank you very much for your time here on CNBC-TV18. Interesting company. Let me just start by asking you, and my colleague Shruti is also joining in, what really sparked the idea to merge AI with Vedic astrology, and how do you ensure that there is credibility in this domain, which is so very personal and belief-led?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So what really excited us about astrology in general is how people from all walks of life in India, that it's the large businessmen or even like small and mom and pop kirana stores, they all sort of depend on astrology as a source of guidance, either through difficult times or to decide in different life events, which is like starting a new business or getting married. So the cultural relevance of astrology and the mission of really supporting people through this journey is something that we got super excited about. To answer your question about AI, so AI we use in various ways. So one is, so that if I have to divide astrology into 4 parts, the first part is like chart construction, which the AI does. And the second part is figuring out sort of what aspects or variables to consider within astrology to answer a particular question. So that's where AI is mostly used. The human mind is limited in the number of variables it can consider at a particular point of time. What AI is able to do is guide our astrologers on looking at all the variables at once and picking out the variables they need to focus on while answering different questions. And that is, on top of that, using the human intuition and the experience of the astrologers adds a lot of credibility alongside AI.
All right, Mahin, this is Shruti quickly stepping in. Let's get to the fundraise. How will the $1.5 million in seed funding be allocated across team expansion, AI development, and community building? If you could elaborate on those plans.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we are focusing on is building the right AI talent to build out our own fine-tuned models that are trained on all of the astrological knowledge and all the books that are used in astrology. And apart from that, we want to build a trusted brand working with all the credible astrologers across the country.
All right. You've been live for a few months now. What does early traction look like in terms of, revenue growth, repeat usage, consumer engagement? And if you could also give us your targets on these, say, over the next 24 months and how big the business can realistically get.
Yeah. So currently we're at around 30 to 40,000 users. Again, very early on. It's just been a couple of months since we've gone live. Interesting sort of frequency of users is like some sort of view it as a source of guidance over the next, let's say, every 3 months. So the frequency is they come on the app every 2 months as a source of guidance on the next few months. And some see it sort of more frequency based as a source of guidance on a weekly basis. So frequency ranges on sort of how users want to use astrology in their sort of day-to-day lives. And sort of our goal right now is to basically build a sort of product that consumers love and focus a lot of what we call, our internal net promoter score, which is how much sort of love consumers have for our product.
Okay. Mahin, despite its size, India's spiritual services sector is still largely informal and unstructured. What makes you confident that the Indian consumer, especially the mass premium urban segment, is ready to adopt a tech-first, standardized astrology solution like Vaya?
Yeah, that's something that we focus a lot internally is we vet our astrologers through sort of an elaborate system of vetting process and only work with a select few instead of a marketplace model. Which ensures that we uphold standard of quality. So there's this sort of vetting process begins with, just a basic background checks, educational sort of licenses, to even actually conducting deep down interviews and actually having our current expert team take all of those interviews so that the standard of astrological knowledge is met across all of our astrologers. Combined with that, we sort of are working towards building an evaluation system so that our AI engine has sort of almost 100% accuracy rate on getting the right astrological variables to look at. when they analyze different variables.
Okay, Mahin, very briefly, India has always exported these spiritual traditions we have, whether that is Ayurveda or yoga. Do you see Vaya also eventually becoming a global astrology brand? Are you working towards that?
Definitely. I think apart from targeting a mass premium market in India, we're also targeting Indians across the globe. So typically what we've seen is that Indians across the globe, whether they reside in India or not, are deeply rooted to our culture and actually view our culture and sort of miss the cultural ties that they have with the country. So our goal is to build an experience for Indians all across the world, and excited to sort of work on the mission globally.
All right, one final question, Mahin, before I let you go. And if you could quickly answer that, what's your long-term vision for monetization beyond the one-on-one consultations or subscriptions? Are you exploring AI as a service for astrology or B2B integrations?
So just the DNA of the company right now is mostly consumer. So currently we're focused on Vedic astrology, and then we're looking to sort of expand to other areas like Vastu or even palmistry, and sort of cater to different variations of astrology to sort of solve the same problem of guidance. But sort of currently, as of now, we're only sticking to astrology.
All right, Mahin, we've run out of time, but thank you very much, for joining us here on Startup Street today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, fuel tech startup Nawgati secures $2.5 million in a pre-Series A round. We put its co-founder on the hot seat to find out the company's fund allocation strategy, expansion plans, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. Fuel tech startup Nawgati has just raised $2.5 million in a pre-Series A round led by marquee investor Ajay Upadhyaya, with participation from industry veterans and institutional backers. With plans to go global and deepen its footprint in India, Nawgati is looking to revolutionize how fuel stations and fleets operate. From real-time visibility to smarter resource management, the company is betting big on tech to transform the fueling experience. Joining us now to discuss this further is Vaibhav Kaushik, the co-founder of Nawgati, as well as my colleague Ritu. Vaibhav, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, fuel and fleet tech is a relatively untapped space, right? So what are the biggest inefficiencies that you're addressing? If you could sort of take us through what's on offer.
So, thank you for having me here. Second, time I'm here on Startup Street. So, in terms of fueling and fleet, the main focus has always been on the transparency. So, for CNG particularly, the problem that fleet operators primarily face is that they don't have any visibility in terms of what amount of fuel was actually dispensed into the vehicle. So this is where Nawgati comes in by providing that visibility, that transparency to the fleet operators, that if you're paying, say, 1,000 rupees, those 1,000 rupees are actually being attributed to the fuel at the fuel station.
All right. Hi, this is Ritu stepping in. You also have this platform that connects fuel stations, fleet operators, and consumers. What have been some of the biggest technical or operational challenges you've seen in building this kind of an ecosystem? And, what sort of improvements are you bringing about therefore?
Right. So we have two primary offerings. One of them is the Awake B2B vertical SaaS offering, right? That is sort of a digital supervisor for all the fleet, for the fuel stations, right? Then we have a Nawgati fueling app that is being used by the end consumers to navigate to a station on their route, right? So the entire ecosystem is Awake on one side, where the fuel station data is monitored in real time using the existing assets, be it the dispensers, compressors, CCTV cameras at the fuel stations. And then the Nawgati app acts as like a discovery platform, engagement platform for the end consumer as well as the fleet users. So drivers can actually use the app to navigate to a station on their route, see what all loyalty programs are available. Like the example is Mahanagar Gas's MGL CNG Mahotsav, right? That is run by Nawgati's fleet program. So what happens is that if you buy a new bus or truck, right, you get some MGL coins. Those can be redeemed by an MGL card. So you can use Nawgati app, you go to the outlet and then you transact. So you can actually transact using coins instead of actually paying when you're actually transacting. So that is the entire loyalty program that has been built by Nawgati.
Right. And you've raised $12 million in this round, right? How do you plan to strategically allocate these funds in a bid to accelerate growth?
Right. So Nawgati is primarily operational in the Delhi and the Bombay region, right? So the objective is to scale the offering pan-India, as well as to explore other countries in Southeast Asia. We have, we'll be announcing our launch in the Southeast Asian countries by next quarter. And we also have inbounds from African nations. But the only challenge here, that is that for most countries, when you switch continents, you switch countries, the context has to be switched. So the problem statement will have to be tweaked, because at fuel pumps, congestion might not be the most prevalent pain point for a country or a fuel station in, say, Middle East, right? As opposed to a fuel station in Delhi, which is actually struggling with congestion. So our focus is to enter countries that have a similar demography as in India, high population density, high vehicle density, and then enter into countries where we can focus more on the compliance as well as the loyalty aspect going forward. Right?
All right. Your fleet offering is also already live with Mahanagar Gas, as we understand. How do you plan to scale this with other major fuel companies? Are you already in talks with some?
Right. So almost every gas company in the country wants to use our sort of plug-and-play fleet platform, right? So Nawgati's fleet platform can be customized to the company's loyalty program. So for MGL, it is MGL coins, right? For other companies, it will be customized to have sort of their branding on, say, the card as well as the virtual card program, coin program. So every other gas company in the country has reached out to us to demonstrate it for certain geographical areas of theirs, and then scale it pan-India to wherever their fuel stations are. So you'll see the fleet program live for most gas companies by end of this year.
All right. And, if we could talk numbers, can you take us through the revenue streams and what you're currently clocking, and where do you hope to end this year? What's the 18 to 24-month growth outlook for you?
So, Nawgati primarily charges a subscription fee for the Awake subscription, right? For the fleet program, it is more of a transaction fee based model, right? And we're doing about $1.5 million in annual recurring revenue. And the objective is to scale it to about $35 million in the next 2 to 3 years.
All right. Vaibhav, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. We wish you all the best on your journey, and we'll talk to you soon.
Moving on, also in what's brewing, quick commerce platform Zepto has announced that it will launch Zepto Atom, a data analytics subscription platform for brands. It will offer real-time, minute-by-minute insights on sales, customer impressions, and more. The feature is set to go live on May 16. My colleague Shilpa Ranipeta caught up with Aadit Palicha, co-founder of Zepto, to talk about this new offering and how it is different from a Kantar or Nielsen. Take a look.
Yeah, so we've just launched Zepto Atom today. It's a new product, which is essentially a advanced data analytics tool and a subscription for all the brands that are listed on Zepto. What it is giving brands is pretty next level insights into sort of their performance on the platform and in general across geographies, right? So for example, on Zepto Atom, you can look at your pin code by pin code performance. You can see a full map across the country. Every city you can double click on. You can look at each neighborhood, see where am I over indexed, where am I under indexed, where do I need to double down on distribution or pricing or marketing. And the idea is to create a tech powered tool that can hopefully disrupt the consumer analytics industry in India, which is over 1,000 crore. And I'm also able to do it, or like in an automated fashion, which means I can provide these insights much cheaper than, let's say, doing, paying consultants to give me sort of manual data insights that, usually candidly charge a bomb.
So is it live? And quickly tell us, like, have you already onboarded brands here?
On Friday, we're doing a full launch of Zepto Atom on a webinar where we're going to announce, all the new features in detail, and we're also going to, announce the pricing as well. And so Friday, it's going to go live to all brands, and it's already been in pilot for the past few weeks or so. I mean, looking at sort of the early results, I mean, I think we could easily touch 1,000 brands on board within the first few weeks or so.
How significant do you see Atom being a revenue stream for you? It also comes at a time when you are also doubling down on profitability, right? So just help us understand, how do you see this contributing to your top line and bottom line, and how significant is this piece?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think from our lens, there are multiple, highly profitable revenue streams in this business, like advertising revenue, for example, which is, doing now, 130 plus crores a month of ad revenue, right? And we've, scaled it to, 200 million ARR, right? We've got, this, data, monetizing the data stack as well, which is what we're doing here. Like I mentioned, we literally generate, north of 10 million data points every single day through our data pipelines that we've built out here in Bangalore in Zeppto, right? And those 10 million data points per day, there's so much richness there that I have a huge advantage to be able to monetize that. So, this is the second phase, right? Which is, can we use our data to provide value to brands? I think it can be a meaningful revenue stream. Can't really comment on the specifics, but definitely tens of crores per quarter, additional to bottom line. But of course, there are multiple other key initiatives that we have, like Super Saver and assortment expansion, that have really meaningfully added to bottom line year on year, which is why we're expecting pretty surprising profitability results, at least for most of your viewers, in the very short term.
Aadit, since we have you here, I have to ask you about the recent news around funding. CNBC-TV18 also had reported that both Motilal Oswal and Ramdev Agarwal are looking at investing about $50 million each in personal capacity into Zeppto as part of a secondary round where you are looking at shoring up domestic ownership. So can you please confirm this to us?
So Shilpa, I'm not surprised you're asking questions related to, capital markets on CNBC, but frankly, I'm not in a position to be able to comment on that, or just generally fundraising news. Right now I feel that the company's in a pretty good position. We've just grown close to 300% year on year. We were close to 1 billion of annualized GOV last year. Now we're close to 4 billion 12 months later. So we've grown 300% year on year. What I can tell you is that, we gave a public commitment that, let's say, by end of this financial year, we will have, proven, EBITDA positivity, right? I think we're on track to do or beat that. And so I can tell you that the company's in a very good place. We don't need to raise, any primary capital, and, any transaction that we're contemplating is, purely for the purpose of trying to sort of increase